A year ago, we took a huge risk. We sold everything we owned and bought a small abandoned farm in the west of Ireland.
We had long dreamed of escaping the rat race for a slower and simpler pace of life, one of self-sufficiency.
This farm was going to need a lot of work, but we had no money left for builders, so we had to renovate it ourselves. The whole project was going to take years. This is going to show you what we did in the last 12 months. We demoed sheds, barns, other buildings with sledgehammers, sometimes our own hands. We dug the ground with pickaxes to lay foundations and footings. We framed the extensions, stripped off the old roof and put a brand new roof on. We gutted the house and rebuilt all the rooms and new bathrooms. And in the end, we clad the house in a beautiful larch, all done by myself and Claire. Absolutely no experience whatsoever. We've done a hell of a lot, but there's far more to do yet. Let me take you back a year to when we got the property, or even a little bit further to where our journey began. A journey that would eventually lead us home. This is me. My name's Robin. I grew up in Ireland, but as a teenager my family moved to the Middle East. This is where I got my sense of adventure.
And this is me. My name is Claire. My parents moved to West Cork in the 70s in a camper van. Growing up in West Cork was where I've got my sense of adventure.
This is the boarding school where Claire and myself met and fell in love, the stereotypical childhood sweetheart.
After school and college, we travelled the world before eventually returning home and getting married.
We got our first home. Not long after, things changed. We had to buy a bigger home. And then our 2 kids came along. We always seemed to be doing crazy things like representing our country at kendo or getting on boats and freediving, but we always liked the idea of being a little bit self-sufficient.
Especially from the ocean and especially from the garden, where we loved to grow things. However, we didn't quite have the space.
We dragged our family to the Middle East in search of more excitement and adventure. We spent 3 years there and skipped the cities and hit the deserts as much as we could, exploring and trying to find things off the beaten path. We used every method from car to motorbike to explore, but we found still something wasn't missing, and after 3 years we moved home. We searched for adventure wherever we could find it. We started to explore and renovate old boats. The renovation part was cool, but we wanted to do something bigger. So we turned our attention to old abandoned properties.
After 2 years of looking, we jumped straight in. Gosh, and upstairs, nobody had been living up here for 13 years. It was in pretty good condition really though.
I couldn't get over that the outside was like still being used as an old farm. It was great to see cows.
So the east side of the house was 2 tin sheds, one a turf house and one a sort of a garage, or an old garage. We soon found that there was lots of metal and all sorts of things stored in here. It was quite fun discovering what was underneath the roofs. The beautiful curved wall was just underneath all of the ferns and all of the branches and trees, some of which we had to remove in order to get access. Then we emptied all of the sheds. We were just left with very flimsy concrete walls.
Sometimes it just feels like you get nowhere. You want to leave it for someone else to do. And then you remember there's nobody coming to do it. Because you wanted this restoration experience. This was a particularly hot part of the summer. We dug and we dug and we dug and we found a car. We dug some more and found plastic, but then we met our match. I gave it every power tool I had. I went through about 4 blades under a reciprocating saw. I went, well, very defeated. It's not a pleasant feeling.
This tree may have just broken us. It's a real fecker. Down there, Rob has got this ready now for foundations for the extension at the end. And this here is where the tree was.
Foundation gone in here. So this isn't level. Once I put down the first course of blocks for the footing, I will properly level it. Yeah, this barn was a right fecker. It just got in our way of the kitchen, so I just needed to take out the corner of it so that we could build our retaining wall. I used a lot of power tools. My hands were vibrating for days after this. My father came and we put a little bit of concrete foundation. A week or two ago we had a well drilled here, and we have a different guy coming back sometime next week to fit a pump. So he asked for power and a bit of a level slab. It's a minute to midnight and we just finished the well slab. This is where all of our solar panels and stuff, the electrics, the inverters, the batteries and whatever is going to be stored here. What started as a pump house kind of extended to a ground mount solar array. Looking forward to doing that project.
We spent a lot of time doing the fencing. This is really important for Rooney, as she was quite adventurous and at a young age, wanting to hop over every dike and ditch she could get through.
What I plan to do today is to tackle the wiring and plumbing. So the wiring is pretty messy. I need to shut off power to the whole house and I need to take this all out. Most of them came down intact. So I think I'm going to try and use them for the retaining wall down here. I'll try and use as many as possible anyway. I actually have a bit of footage taking the roof off this kitchen, but because we're doing the house I figured ain't nobody got time enough to see that much roof coming off. There was so little cement in these blocks, they all came apart fairly intact, so it was great to recycle them.
I've been told I don't do enough videos. This is, well, we believe it was an old piggery. And I'll just show you what we've been doing, which is just, it's really rewarding because it's a lovely wall to look at afterwards. But look, I'll just show you this. And needless to say, the dog really thinks she's helping.
Well, we used to have an awning here. We had a storm last night. Bizarrely, the hammock stayed up. And our caravan is engulfed with our awning, which seems to have flipped. So I think actually there was a lintel here the more modern one, and then there was another lintel here, an older one. So I'm just going to take out any loose stones, save them for packing later. I haven't done these yet. I've only done a few of them, and it's pretty rigid. As soon as you fill the cavities with concrete, it's pretty rigid. This is the first proper stone wall we did on this project, and it was actually really fun trying to find the right stones to go in there.
We created the wall for the bedroom with all of the old blocks from the old kitchen. If there were any broken ones, they sat into the curve to make the curved wall at the back. This was quite rewarding to see the old blocks being used again, and then the framing would go on top. The ground needed to be level in order to lay the insulation. This was really tough with the sand, but eventually we got there.
After the pump house, this was our first big job to do with concrete, and the pressure was on.
We made some big progress yesterday. Rob was mixing, I was leveling. I'm not sure which is a better job, because I'm responsible for the level of this now. As you can see, it's a little bit bumpy. Left their footprints in the screed. We'll see how we get on with filling this piggery.
Claire had already leveled the piggery, so I did the sewage pipes, but it was tricky. Again, these rocks just didn't want to line up.
We've done with the leveling, we've done with the insulation. We've just put down this red stuff. The red stuff is electric underfloor heating. Yeah, it doesn't look too bad.
It's not stable enough to build timber frame on top of, and the timber frame has to reach up and support this. We're just going to give a little bit of concrete reinforcement, and then we'll be able to put the timber frame on top of that.
Yeah, the form is holding the wall. Start of the wall, then down here this is leveled all the way along, and now we're starting to level our lower wall, which we built with all of the old blocks from the kitchen.
It's 10:15. This is probably the first evening we've worked this late, and it feels dark. Lovely sunset, but you know, the evenings are gonna start getting darker and darker, earlier and earlier, and I'm not looking forward to the time of the year when it gets dark at 4:30 before we finish work.
We were all involved in ripping down and gutting everything out of the farmhouse. Even the kids got involved. I suppose it started to get exciting. Ceiling did look like in the parlour. I literally just ripped it out. So we're just about to do the same here.
So this is unusual for a farmhouse. The kitchen was in the back, but that was closed off, and the ground floor was turned into a kind of an apartment. So what you see in the middle there was a tiny little makeshift kitchen that the previous person, I suppose, used to use. She lived on her own, so she didn't need anything that big. It was just another little quirk of these farmhouses that you come across. Since we first saw the farmhouse, we knew we wanted to take down this wall and have a beautiful open space with the stairs at the back. Standing on my lovely ring beam on top of my wall, looking at this roof. We're going to start to demolish this shed. Claire needs the roof from this shed to go on our pump house, and I think we're going to set up a little wash area, fuzzy kitchen in there. So finally this has to come off. We had a glorious May and a glorious June, but we didn't have the materials to tackle the roof at that point. I think it's August tomorrow, or the weather's okay. There's a few showery days and 1 or 2 torrential days. So we don't think there's a good time to do it. So we decided we're just gonna get stuck in. Just right over the consumer unit right here, and we're going to tape that down. We're then going to put a little bit of builder's film or damp-proof membrane over the whole floor and try to run it off a little bit to the wall at the front, because conveniently enough we kind of have a little hole going down there, so we might try and... Oh, look at this. Look at the belt. Look how snazzy. Or if you stand it up for me, I'll just pop this in. And who says this kind of roof asbestos removal has to be unsexy? Today Claire is rocking the midnight blue PPE with the
Okay, we're gonna call it a night. Oh, it's just Baltic out there. Come on in, Outer Rain.
We have 3 layers of tarp above the consumer unit and 2 layers of damp-proof membrane. It hasn't gotten through to this old space. Quite dry actually. Still summer though. Shorts, t-shirt, sliders, woo woo, and ice cream. Happy days. I'm singing in the rain, just seems to be just round stones. Nice view from up here. Today, so I didn't do much recording, but we managed to get the ridge on. Well, good morning. After the high of last night, getting the job done in the gorgeous weather, I listened to myself and I decided to put up the drone. At this point, you'll have seen it. The drone took a nosedive. It had an argument with a few branches and it came off worse than where. Now the gimbal is stuck. I have to order a new drone. So, I mean, by no means is it perfect, but it ain't half bad. I get the feeling this house is never... I keep having to fucking make repairs. This is, I mean, the pipe's leaking. Isn't that hilarious? There's no roof on it and we're in the middle of a storm, but I have to keep repairing these things. Alright. I could turn off the tap, but it's raining in the sink, so what are you gonna do? So I might just jump in here and explain. We've got the rafter up and now we're trying to make a template of the back wall plate so we can see how long and what height we need. We needed to do this before we got our measurements and then we're able to get back up to the roof. Myself and Claire are up on the wheelie scaffold. What we're doing is we have 3 rolls of Tyvek that I measured out and we're just doing one rafter at a time. Claire's doing the bottom, we're sharing the middle, and I'm doing the top. And then we're holding the rafter and we're just pulling ourselves along. So it's not the prettiest, but for working at midnight with no light and heavy rain, it's an alright job. So at the far end of the piggery now we're going to change this into our wardrobe, and this is our guest bathroom. What we're starting to do now is frame the wall in the space that will be our dining room, and Claire is continuing to take down stone. And at this point here now I am starting to frame the kitchen, and this will just allow us to finish off the roof. After months of research, I decided a harness and climbing rope was the best and safest way to get up here. It was definitely something I didn't enjoy, but it was good to do. The back was good training, the front was a lot higher and a lot more terrifying. But once I got into my stride, I didn't need the harness really. You get your confidence fairly handy.
First of all, we had to come up with a system in order to get the panels on the roof. This was difficult and they were heavy, and with just the 2 of us, we got there in the end through lots of lifting and pushing with battens. The back then was even heavier. We had the help of Rob's dad and Mum for a little while, and then after a while we managed to get it ourselves with the kids. They were tough. Both of the bathrooms upstairs had a Velux, so in order to fit the roof around the Velux, we had to cut the panels firstly on the ground in order to make sure that they would fit. Veluxes are tricky business.
So I have some low-hanging collar ties and I doubled them up every other, and I have 2 spacers in between this and the oversized 8x2s. I'm really happy with the structural kind of strength. It's pretty much finished. In case you're wondering what this wall is, if you remember at the very beginning, there is a bow, and apparently the consensus for these buildings is don't try to fix them. If you try to fix them, you'll make them worse. That's a fair point. So what I decided to do is to bank down another wall plate to anchor it here, put some kind of supports going up to take the weight of the roof as well. So I have 2 means to support the roof here. I think that's making it very strong. We have the double ties up there, and we have a cantilever on the back, concrete wall again, double top plate, and just tying it off down below on the timber frame. So both sides of the roof have a timber frame and a concrete frame, so happy enough with that.
Upstairs in the top bedroom, the chimney breast stuck out quite a bit from the wall, and from the start I wanted to remove it as we weren't going to keep the chimneys anyway. So brick by brick the chimney came down. It was made of all sorts of rubble, block, stone, slate, and running down the middle were the flue pipes, which I've kept. So once the chimney breast had been demolished upstairs, we then could go downstairs and work out exactly what we wanted in the place where the fireplace was going to be. We removed the old stove, which was a back boiler, which stuck out from the wall. In its place, we put a little stove, which we were able to sit back into the original fireplace.
We got fire! This is our bathroom wall, that's our window, and it just comes back a little bit. It's a nice small little wall. Just before we move out here and start to put our curve on, which we hope kind of match the curve over here at the back stone wall. The rubble stones just seem to be stacked. This is typical of these are called rubble filled walls, where the course on the outside is stuck together with whatever you can find locally. In this case, I can see that's the clay with the kind of lime-free render on the outside. I love problems like this. This is not only a curved wall, but the height is changing, so it's more of a helix. It was pretty difficult to figure out how to do it, but once I got it, it was grand. As like everything on this project, I suppose.
Once we had framed the room, it was then time to get the beams up for the roof. These were long and they were difficult, and it was the first flat roof that we were attempting to do. Once it was up, it was easy then to get the corrugation up from the back field.
That's a bit of an onus to make a move on and to get this final bit of demolition done. Out came the big guns again, and out came the wobbly fingers for the next week. This was a very difficult, hard wall to get down. Lots of cement, lots of concrete at the top. But when we came to the bottom, it was mostly just clay and stone, so not so bad. It was amazing what we found in it though. Here you see us trying to line up our roof to get the right height here so we know where to demolish down to. First, let me just show you quickly where we got to last night. I found some, I think, this might be just a simple beam, but I'm wondering is a part of the old West Cork Railway that used to be here.
This was the wettest day of the build so far. We changed in the morning, we changed again in the afternoon. Every piece of clothing was wet and we ran out of raincoats and wellies. But by the end of it we had a ring beam in.
We'll start to build up the wall there. I need to see how to tie the wall in at this side. That one shouldn't be too bad. I might take the top off as well.
So, you know, it's yeah, can be backbreaking work at times, but it's terribly rewarding. And I just wanted to show you this piece here, which is the stone wall that we did. Look, it mightn't look great now, but I was really thrilled with it because that's my little bit of stone wall. And my dad was an absolute stone wall expert, and whenever we went anywhere, he would always have a stone in the back of the car, or we'd go to a beach or we'd go somewhere and he'd say, oh, that's the perfect stone, I need that for wherever.
Have a look at this. By far this is our largest project by space. It took a whole day. Well, it took weeks to try and level this, but it took a whole day to put down the membrane and the insulation to try and get it all flat. Then we forgot that we had to put in some pipes, so we did that. We got it all flat, and yeah, we finished up late that night. And I'd like to say we were up early, but I don't think we were up too early because I believe there was a little bit of rain the next day. It took a long time to lay the underfloor heating, as you can see it here, and we started to pour the concrete. We were very ambitious in this, too ambitious, and we actually ran out of cement. I had to run off to the local hardware store to get it. That pushed us behind a little bit, and he went a bit crazy, didn't we, Claire?
Oh my golly, completely. However, the pizza was so worth it.
Yeah, that was alright. Got some supplies. Mine, Claire's. And how are you doing, Claire? Romantic dinner for two in the barn.
If anybody said to me that I'd be sitting on a camp chair in a barn in the middle of October.
In the middle of the night, in the middle of October.
Of the night, yeah. Oh, God, I'd said not a chance. You have some way of working it, Rob. And here, Rob wanted to continue into the next day to finish off outside the dining room and the front door. I just couldn't do it.
Well, we went till about 1:30 a.m. in the morning, and then we called it a day.
However, coming back the next day, it seemed even more impossible.
I started to frame our final wall here, which is just really going to contain two big windows. The windows are quite big. They're 2.5 meters wide by 1.5 meters high. So I'm doubling up on everything. Technically I only need one stud and can't remember what that's called. Lintel stud, I think. I only need one of each, but I'm doubling up. Coming today, there was a lot of wind coming and I wanted to get a beam put up there. and have it mortared into the wall.
So all my 2x8s have been 220 mils on the point. So of course that's how I built these studs. But the new wood I ordered is 223 millimeters. I hope it's just this one. If not, I'll have to take 3 millimeters off both ends of this for all of them. Here. Fits like a moderately loose fitting glove. Slightly tight on the fingers. Oh, looks like pizza time. Pizza time, yes? Oh, nice.
Pizza time.
And here you see the glamorous side of renovation. Not only do you have to learn to build a house, you gotta learn how to sew, to repair your cheap stuff that breaks after pizza.
So up went the kitchen roof. Of course, this is our second flat roof, so we knew what we were doing. Not. Our hardest part here was getting the corrugation up, which you'll see in a second. We were worried about this for a long time because we needed no wind.
I thought you said the hardest part about this was your knees.
Yes, knee pads, essential.
This is what our finished products look like in the morning. So right here we can see that the frame has been pulled out. The window guy came and he told us that the window, or the double doors here, would sit a little bit better if we took maybe 50 millimeters out of the floor. And I guess he thought that we knew this, but we didn't. But we could have made it lower when we were actually pouring the floor, but we didn't think about it. He was good enough to work with us and give us some advice.
So we set up a slide in order to slide the corrugation up onto the flat roof of the kitchen. Ash and Rob pushed from the bottom while I rearranged it on the top. This took a while, but the system worked well. Which I hope I showed you the end of. Now I'm thinking about it, maybe I didn't. I'm really good at this. I start something, I think it's going really well, and then I don't show how it ends. But anyway, so my line from my batten is here. So I'm gonna screw down. Some metal shavings underneath. Make sure it's clean.
This triangle was the bane of my roof project. I had considered putting a window in there, but we were just too late in our planning. Maybe a window will go in at some point, I don't know. For the time being anyway, we framed it up, threw a bit of tie back on, and we used leftover corrugation. And yeah, after cleared out the flashing and sealed it all up, it kind of worked out okay. I think it looks good.
We waited 4 months for the windows to be made, And then finally he rang us and told us they were ready, which actually was perfect timing because we were just about there too with the getting the openings ready. Side of the wall, looking at the stone, thinking, oh, that'd be nice if we took it back to the stone. But anyway, that isn't the priority. The priority is to get the window up.
Have a look at what's growing there.
Yeah, we got lots of mud,
Hey.
and then this wood.
It's ivy, isn't it? See this wood?
Yeah. Are you taking out?
Alright. The house is popping. Couldn't be more happy. Here you can see our bedroom window. Nice big panoramic. If you jump through it, you can see a sliding little porch doors there. We'll tidy all that up. But you can see some beautiful sash windows. And you can see little Claire upstairs. And then down here we have the kitchen, which is our massive 2 panoramics. These windows are actually quite high. Since we came down here, the stars have just been spectacular. Like,
Oh, well, you open them up, and then you can go up and down, or down the top, up, and then you can go. Oh yeah.
there you go. And now you can slide the top down,
You can clean them a bit easier.
and you can do the same thing with
Do
that.
the same with this one.
How about that for some fancy windows?
Not the most exciting part of the build, especially as it's in the depths of winter and it's pitch black outside. But we do have to do it. The insulation has to go in. So we just got in and did it. Didn't we, Rob?
Yes, it was very exciting.
Then in the kitchen we had to put in a row of noggins. This was just because of the length of the beams. It was important to have noggins in between. Again, pretty unexciting job, but one of those just has to be done. So, up and down the ladder like yo-yos.
It's a good
What we
use of
got there.
scrap wood though, isn't it?
It was a good use to use up all the scraps, yes.
Yeah.
Oh my golly, what's going on? You got stuck in the mud.
Oh no, wasn't me.
Oh my god. Alright, okay. One. So we are trying to pull the van out of the side of our driveway with the Discovery. This has our bathroom seats in it, so I'd say it's bloody heavy. Poor fella is wrecking the van. I don't know if you can see how far in the mud he is there. The back. Oh yes, we're out. It's called Good Home Caraway Kitchen. We've decided to just buy all of the carcass and not the doors. So we will actually, Rob wants to make the doors himself.
Because I got loads of free time, and I thought it'd be a lovely idea to do like 9 months ago, it was a lovely idea to do. Now,
Yeah,
looking
well,
at the work.
We kind of needed you to be working too. But anyway, and then we this room now is still full of insulation still. Plasterboard, OSB for the kitchen, and then this is our electronics and plumbing table. This table actually was our kitchen table from our old house.
There's not much to build in our house. There's just a little bathroom here and a wardrobe next to it. Upstairs then there's the kids' bedroom, so it was nice to do something different to do with the framing down here.
You do really enjoy the framing though, don't you?
The framing is something I can just kind of tune in and not think about. I actually quite liked the doing the base here for this bathroom. Surprisingly, bathroom stuff seemed to appeal to us, Claire, didn't it?
It did, and you know, it was so much nicer than having a shower tray.
Oh, here we go. It's not perfect, but I reckon it's really good. I'm quite happy with it. Looking, as Claire says, a bit old worldy, getting some rough curves on the side, looking a bit handmade, as opposed to like a brand new shower pan. So we're actually really happy with that. Still unsure what we're going to do for the actual floor here. Plumbing was something also that I had not done before. I was a novice at everything, but funnily enough, since the very first time we moved into the house, I think we were 2 days, and the first toilet broke. It literally fell off the wall of the cistern. That flooded everything. That toilet broke quite a few times. And we kept putting off repairing any of our toilets or showers or any of our plumbing really, because we always said we'd just end up building a new shower or a new bathroom one day, but geez, like we were in there maybe 9 months before we got it. It was tough going, and in hindsight I think I should have just put in a new bathroom from day one. Would have been handy, wouldn't it, Claire?
Yeah, although it was nice to build it where we've built it, and I'm really happy with the situation of it. And I think at the start we thought we might be a bit small, but now we've done it, it's perfect.
Yeah, I mean, it feels like luxury, doesn't it? It's great to have a new toilet. Oh, that's not looking too shabby at all. This will be a little shelf. We'll put a little bit of wood there. But it's quite solid. For the last couple of days, if we want to use the bathroom, we got to take 5-litre bottle of water up with us. So this is a novelty, to move back to the real world with a flushing toilet.
I can't believe it, we have a toilet! Who designed the toilet?
Dr. Jax. So sometimes I want to do creative things just for fun. Other times I can't afford to buy things. This is a mix of both of those. We had a sleeper down the bottom of the garden that I wanted to use for a project, but that fell through. So I kind of thought, geez, would that work? And because we used the sleeper already for the fire, so I thought, why not give it a go? Railway sleeper, bathroom, I don't know, table, done. I'm ready to plumb these. I have the pipes all ready to have the connections done. Some walls, which is kind of exciting.
So, floor and walls in. It was time to put the blue stuff. What was the blue stuff called, Rob? Tanking kit. So we tanked the whole thing, painted all blue, kind of like a rubberized coat. It went on with a roller, really thick and gooey. And then after that it was ready for tiling. Never done any tiling before. Thoroughly enjoyed this actually. So today I am working on this tiling. there was to line them up straight from the start. Once I had the first line in correct, using my laser level, I found I was okay going further on up the wall. Obviously having to cut as I go. But it was enjoyable. If I was to be critical about my own job, I would say I possibly need to be better prepared, have a proper size cutter to cut the tiles, and also a proper trolley thing to put the adhesive on. Also, my bucket was too small. Just had a quick shower and almost forgot. So we put these down on the floor, this mosaic, because we built the shower tray ourselves, so we sloped it ourselves. So it was easiest. We could have cut tiles and sloped them in, but the easiest thing to do was to use mosaics and get them to follow the natural curve of the floor. First complete bathroom in this house. Slowly, but it's getting there. Happy with my first tiling job.
All day. Well, here you go, folks. Thought I'd give you a look. This is the tap from Amazon. Love it. Sink from B&Q. Love it. Sleeper table from the bottom of the garden. Equally love that, surprisingly. Gotta put that fan off. But look at this. A fully functioning shower. This is the Mira Sport EcoFlow.
Excuse me!
Sorry. Singing in the rain, singing in the rain. Oh, hello there. One of the things we first noticed was this old door that had been closed off, because they closed off the back kitchen. And we wondered, was it the original front door? It wasn't until much later, and we got in, we took it apart, we took the measurements, we figured it was. So this door, we reckon, is over 200 years old, and so it's pretty cool to be able to reuse it. It was hung backwards, so we just needed to make a few small alterations, and it was pretty good to go. We will restore this properly or paint it in the future.
Once upstairs was cleared, it was pretty easy to see what we were doing with the flooring. The green, blue underlay went down, followed by the OSB. The OSB will be the final flooring, which will be sanded and varnished afterwards. Just going to get Rob to have a quick look at the cement board, because
Yes,
it's
ma'am!
sticking out a small bit. But
Reporting for booty, sir.
nice. Okay. We need to get the kids into these rooms, and it's not happening as quickly as we would like. We have some of this board insulation for the walls, which the kids started to put up themselves. They were so desperate to get in. I'm going to keep going with the ceilings, and I'll put you on time lapse just to show you how it all goes.
I have just finished work, which means Claire has called in the big guns. Right, my first task. Claire has nicely laid out this piece of wood. I must put in some noggins in this so that I can start to build a frame for the wall. Claire has just popped to pick up Kira for 2 minutes, so I just wanted to show you what I was working on, because I've never done anything like this, but super proud. So we had to make this little space, because Ashton's room, while quite a nice size, is considerably smaller than Kira's, and if any of you have teenagers, that ain't gonna fly. So what we had to do for Ashton's actually was to make this little alcove. When you step inside, there's this little space. Originally we thought we'd put a wardrobe in there, but actually now we're going to turn it into a desk. Adding the space at the end gives a little bit more kind of walkway around the bed, so making it feel a little bit bigger. West Cork. If this dog stops. Bruni, come on. Turn me a freaking bone, okay? Is there a point? It's the new year. We're full of energy after watching some David Goggins. And who's gonna carry the boat? We gotta get our larch.
Carry the house.
We gotta get our larch onto the wall. First of all, we have our vertical batten, and then we have our counter batten like this. And then we put our first piece of larch on, like so. We have a 2x1 spacer, like that. We put our, we put our second piece of larch on. We remove the spacer, and then we finally put our third piece of larch on the front, like so. We get the spacer again, and then we get the next piece of larch, and so on and so on. Happy evening. 4:40 in the evening, 4:40 p.m. some might say. Sun has just set, so it's a perfect time to go out and do some cladding. That's what we did a few days ago, but how wonderful does it look? Setting sun casts a stunning red glow on this larch. Really makes it pop.
I don't know, is it a different system? But now we have a system. It is flying up. Really flying up, so it's great. And it is super this morning. Last night when we were going to bed, this temperature gauge read minus 0.6 and now it's saying it's minus 3.5. We can split the caravan into 2 sections, so we close off our doors and hope that it maintains a little bit of heat at night. It's frosty. The mountain looks amazing though, actually. Look at the sunrise on the mountain. Oh my god, you gotta see this dog. She loves the frost. She's gone mad.
And my little folly, the curved wall that everyone said was impossible, I did it, and it now matches the curved stone. Oh, I'm so glad we didn't take this out.
Thank you so much for watching and for your continued support over the last year. We cannot explain how much this means to us.
Yeah, thanks for watching. If you have any tips, comments, advice, or if you have any questions, leave it down below. We'll certainly get back to you. Look, we're only starting on our journey and we'd love for you to be part of it. If you want to subscribe to the channel and see where we go, happy to have you. If you want to help us or support the projects we want to do, it's Patreon, memberships, or buy me a coffee. Details are in the description and I'd love for you to be part of our community. But for now, thanks again.
See you soon.